Hi, everybody. My name is Aisha Matthews. I manage the early careers team here in North America, and we're very excited to have you here. Love seeing all of the engagement already. Everyone throwing their schools up. I think I might have seen my alma mater in there. So go Cougs if you're a Washington State. So today we're going to introduce you to a little bit about our career discovery program. We're also going to give you an opportunity to hear from some of the mentors that will be participating in the program. So it's a great opportunity to just learn a little bit more and find out some different ways you can get engaged with Expedia Group and hear about our opportunities. So with that, I know there's a lot on this slide to digest, but I just wanted to quickly give everybody kind of an overview of our career discovery program. For the first time, we are launching a what we call like an early ID program. So really focusing on students before they're eligible for internship, although it is open for anyone to be able to apply. The goal is to be able to provide opportunities to you all to get exposure to our interview process, to get exposure to Expedia Group, some of the technologies that we work on, hear from some of our new grads, hear from some of our interns, and really just feel confident and excited about the opportunity to apply and interview at the end of the program. So it is a week-long event that we're hosting this summer in 3 different locations. We have one session in India that kicks off actually next week, one in the UK that kicks off the following Monday, and then the US kicks off on July 12th. There is still time to apply, so if you guys are interested in participating, you'll have an opportunity to do so. We'll send out the link to everybody following the event. Just to touch a little bit on some of the program components, it's really going to be made up of like career essentials, which is, again, providing you guys a little bit of exposure to how to build your personal brand, how to effectively communicate. Something that we're all very familiar with here at AG is the growth mindset. It'll have a little bit about Expedia Group, so giving you exposure to our just an intro to Expedia, giving you exposure to our I&D team, so our inclusion and diversity teams, our inclusion business groups, which are a great way to continue building community here at Expedia Group. We'll give you an intro to like our internship as well as our new grad opportunities. We'll also help you with like job hunting skills, so helping you write resumes, teaching how to do behavioral interviews. And then one of the more important pieces is really going to be focusing on, we have demystifying the coding interviews. So really helping you break down how to do a HackerRank interview online, how to do, setting you up for success doing a whiteboarding interview, really breaking down that interview and how to be best successful. And then last but not least, and why we're kind of here today, is really around the mentorship piece. So really trying to focus in on how mentorship can be a really important part of not only the internship, for me, the interview journey, but just like your journey throughout your career. And so with that note, I'm going to kick it over and we'll do some quick introductions to our panelists. So we'd love to hear from each of you, just maybe your name, what brand or department you are in at Expedia Group. I'd love to hear a little bit about your role and its overall mission, and not included in there, but if you want to share what school you graduated from, I'm sure students always love hearing from alum. Feel free to throw that in there as well. But Lisa, let's kick it over to you for the first introduction. We'll go on down the line.
Sure. So my name's Lisa Ohashi. I am the director of the AI and machine learning platform team here at Expedia. So we support all the brands and all of the various lines of business, so those being flights, hotels, whatnot. I went to UC Berkeley. I got a degree in mechanical engineering from there, and I've been here at Expedia for just over 5 years. Look forward to meeting a lot of you. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Sandy, did you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Sandy, and I'm actually based in Vancouver, Canada. I graduated from University of British Columbia with a degree in computer science and minor in commerce. And I've been working for Expedia Cruise team for 5.5 years now. And I am deeply involved in anything mentorship related, so highly promoting it.
Nayat, did you want to go next?
Hi everyone, my name is Nijat. I'm a recent graduate from University of Texas at Austin. I see a couple of guys are already also from Austin. That's awesome. And I had an internship with Expedia Group last summer, and I I got hired. I got a full-time offer, and I started working early this year. And right now, I'm an EG loyalty team, and I'm performing the, as you see, software development. I'm a first-degree software development engineer, and love to see you here, guys.
So moving right ahead, we're going to jump into our questions. So thank you guys for those introductions. Just to start out, would love to kind of pose the question, what does the word mentor mean to you? Sandy, I know you're a big advocate for mentorship, so let's kick it over to you first and just hear, what does that really mean to you?
Sure. For me, mentor is someone who are a little bit further down in the journey compared to yours, and they are there to support you and guide you through some of the mistakes or challenges that you might be facing, and then they will be helping you along the side, and they will be celebrating for your success. Those are some of the qualities I think what a mentor really means.
And how about you, Lisa?
So for me, mentorship has always been a two-way street. I like to think of it as a two-way street where, I learn a lot from the people I mentor. I learn a lot that I then apply to people, or I've learned a lot from people who have been my mentor, and then try to turn around and apply those same principles when I'm someone else's mentor. And I do find that I learn a lot as well in that process, not only about who I'm mentoring, but just myself as well. And I've seen through doing that my own progress in my career, which I hope will be the same for all of you.
Yeah, and I think at a high level, we generally see mentors being someone that can step in and really help guide you, but not necessarily thinking about like the day-to-day, but thinking of really like that longer-term career development. Obviously, for the career discovery program, it is like a week-long engagement, but that goal is for them, for the mentors in the program, to really start helping you think about that long-term development and how to get you from kind of point A to point B. Before jumping to our next question, I did see that Angie was able to join. So I'm gonna, Angie, hopefully you're able to just jump in and give a quick introduction. We just wanna hear a little bit about your role, school you went to, what team you're working on, and
hi, Aisha.
Share a little bit about your internship experience. Hi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angie. I am currently in fraud and risk team. It's a platform fraud and core team, which we actually do like fraudulent activities. Is there any like fraudulent booking? Then we could like handle this kind of stuff. And then current location, I am based in Seattle, Washington. And then I also interned at Expedia Group last summer, and that's where I was in platform architecture team.
Thank you, Angie, and welcome. I'll give you a second to compose yourself before forcing you to jump in on the next question. So next question, we'll jump in. What are key qualities of a mentor? Najat, I'm sorry. Would you want to respond to that one?
So I believe as one of the key qualities of a mentor is, first of all, to understand what are the how a mentor can help to a mentee first, because the whole idea of the mentorship is to help not just yourself, but to be able to guide the mentee. And in order to understand it, you have to be able to listen to him or her and to understand what are their career goals, or not just the career goals, or whatever the personal growth they have. So in my understanding, the first and most significant part is to have the communication on the same level. And as long as we have this communication between mentor and mentee, it will be easier for both sides to be able to go this path along.
And Angie, would love to hear from you on this one as well.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Najat said, and add on to that, the key qualities for mentors is like really listen to you and like guide you through like whatever you wanted to achieve in the future. You're pretty much like kind of guiding you through the future goal what you have. Instead of like coaching is like a little bit different than the mentors, right? Coaching is like more on based on the things you know, but mentor is more like guiding you through your future career.
Yeah, and that's kind of a great point. With our internships, so this might be a great question for you guys. We actually have folks or buddies, what we call buddies, aligned to each intern. And so generally the relationship for a buddy is a little bit more on how to get you through that day-to-day and coach you through your day-to-day work. Whereas the mentors are generally longer term and thinking on long-term career development. Angie and Najat, I don't know if you have any thoughts around the buddy experience from last year and how that maybe helped or impacted your experience at Expedia.
Good thing to mention. Actually, last year, me and Angie, we were in the same team, in the platform architecture team. And we have our buddies, Pranav and Jordan. They were a huge help to us because as an intern comes here, everything seems new and you're kind of scared to mess up a lot. You don't want to do a lot of mistakes because you are working the corporate level. And they were very helpful to lead. You could ask any question you can think of, even from the smallest question regarding your behavior in the team, regarding how to match up to the team, how to even understand the requirements from your management. And they are always open to answer. And that's the best thing, actually, at least an intern might have, having a couple of buddies that could basically mentor them throughout the internship.
Yeah, and then I think I want to add into that. I had an experience, they're more like co-workers instead of like your manager or mentor will be, you can ask them like different questions like the career goals and then things like that. But buddies are more like, hey, I try to like solve this problem, but I couldn't do this. Like, do you have any like references? Like when you had this kind of problem, how did you solve it? And then like the day-to-day activities. And then you can also talk about more like a work related versus like just like interest. And then I think like you can talk about with them like any topic you want to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's a good description. It's kind of, thinking about like the day-to-day and current performance versus kind of long-term and setting those strategic career or development goals. Yeah. All right. We're going to pop on to our next question. Can anyone share about maybe a mentor that has helped impact their career?
Okay, I'll go for it. So I joined Expedia 5.5 years ago, and I was hosting a debugging in the gender gap in the tech world panel, and I invited a senior developer at the time, and she became my mentor. And since then, we've had the most wonderful journeys together. I get to meet her up periodically and share with her what my career goals and progress are. And she was always there by my side, always supportive. She gave me a lot of great advice, concrete advice, and also emotional support. Because throughout our career, there's lots of things that might happen, and we are all just learning here, and no one is perfect. We all make mistakes. But her guidance have helped me feel like I belong to this industry as well, because she also is a female, and as we know that there are still some gaps that we're all working towards. So I think it is, for me, it is the best thing that had happened since I joined Expedia, that I found a mentor that I can build this lifelong relationship with.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I love hearing those real stories.
Sorry. I think I agree with Sandy. And then as a new grad, when I joined the team, my manager assigned with me one mentor. And then she kind of like guided me through the first year, especially because when you're joining the team, you don't really know anything about the services they use and things like that. And then she will therefore supporting you like technical perspective, also the like emotional perspective, because sometimes I like, oh, I'm taking this too long to do this task. And then she would be like, oh, it's okay, no worries, like everybody does. It's the most important part is like to understand it, not rushing through like, of course there's deadlines, but if you can make it, you can just bring your task to the next sprint. And then I think having a mentor is like a positive impact on my everyday like progress, I would say.
Thanks, Angie, for sharing. One thing I would say too is I don't know that I have truly had like a formal mentor, but I had, like in hindsight, I had somebody that was a leader, and actually multiple people here at Expedia Group that were leaders that were kind of indirect mentors. So they were helping and guiding me. And at the time, I maybe didn't make that connection that that's where they had, what they were doing or why they'd been placed in my life. But they really helped me kind of figure out what it was I wanted to do in the next steps in my career and kind of guided me that way. So I think that's kind of something interesting as well, as you can have like these indirect mentors that aren't necessarily assigned to you, but sometimes just kind of happen a little bit more organically too. All right, we'll jump to our next slide. So this one, how do you think mentorship has helped to shape your career and the role you're in today? Lisa, I might kick it over to you to start with this one.
Sure. So Aisha, I'm kind of like you. I don't know that I've ever had a formal mentor, so to speak. But what I have done throughout my career is, the people I like working with, I've learned a lot from, I try to maintain those relationships. So, someone who was my manager very early in my career, is someone I learned a lot from, and we stayed in touch over the years. And actually, he is the reason I'm at Expedia today. And one of the things that he taught me, or really he helped me develop within myself, is how to build engineering teams, how to think about your relationship as a manager to your team. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see when I came to Expedia that, we both kind of evolved in very similar ways, and still held very firmly to these beliefs and principles that we developed together, while we were working on the same team. So those things being things like, investing in the individual, making sure, a lot of what I do as a manager, for example, is matching the right people to the right tasks or projects. And I've found that that's a way to accelerate people's careers. And these are things we learned and figured out 20 years ago. And so he's been a very influential mentor in, everything I do today.
Perfect. Najat, did you have anything to add on that one?
As most of you, I don't also have a mentor, at least at this company, but I have another mentor who's been a friend of mine for almost 15 years already, and he also guided me through to become a software engineer, because I would never think of being a software engineer before. And he came here as an international student himself, about 10 or 12 years ago. And he will always keep on talking to me, saying, I have a lot of friends. This is a so fun job to do. And I always thought I'm not a fit for this job, saying that, maybe it's not the way it works. It's not that easy as it seems to be. But after a long term, convincing him, and long term, he was coming back to my country. I was keep on talking a lot, and he was saying, "Oh no, you will be able to do it. I will try to make my best to help you." And in fact, I would have never thought that I would be able to come actually 2 years and study to get my education from zero, get my bachelor's done, and end up in such a huge company like Expedia. And even today, we talk to him and say, "Okay, dude, I didn't think that it would be possible, but it is actually. I am here." And I definitely encourage every single one of you to find that person that will guide you throughout, not just your career, but throughout your life. It's not going to be just a relationship. You just got your job and you break up your relationship. No, it will never stop. It will always continue as your friendship, as like a certain bond between you and your mentee.
Thank you. I love hearing that success story. I think we all probably feel like that at some time, like that imposter syndrome, like we don't belong or we're not good enough to kind of make it. And it's great to hear that he pushed you and you ended up here and you are doing a great job, right? You got the full-time job after the internship. You also mentioned a great point is, mentorship relationship. So like one of the people I was chatting about is no longer at Expedia Group and she's moved on, but we still keep in touch. And so when I, think about different steps in my career, she's still somebody that I can go reach back out to, even though we don't talk all of the time, we can still reach out to and kind of know that they're going to really have your interest and interest at heart and really do a good job of helping guide you make that next step. All right. I think we're close to the end of the mentorship questions. This was going to be very specific. Have there been any examples of like work that you guys have done at Expedia Group that's been directly impacted from like a relationship with a mentor? I feel like Lisa, you kind of gave something along these lines. But.
Yeah. So one of my mentors, this is a different mentor than the one I was talking about earlier, actually became my manager here at Expedia. And one of the things I learned from him, and I am now emulating today, is I started to understand that when I am working on something or I am trying to achieve a goal, he would actually pave the way with the stakeholders or the partners I was working with, making sure that if there are any blockers, he was removing them or just even, putting in a good word for me and on my behalf. And that's something I've learned to emulate myself, that I can help the people on my team or the people I'm working with to make their job go a little more smoothly by just taking a few minutes to reach out to someone and let them know, hey, this person on my team's going to reach out to you. Would you mind helping them with X? And so I think even those really small things is something a mentor can really help with. And a lot of times you may not even be aware that they're doing it.
All right, we can jump to the next one. Last question around the mentor piece, and then we'll switch to some questions around actual roles and project experience. But are any of you guys a part of the mentor group at Expedia? And if so, can you give us a little insight into what that experience has been like?
Yeah, I'm with the mentor group at Expedia, and it is a marketplace where you can put your own information in, and then you can sign up as a mentor or a mentee or both. And you are responsible to reach out to whoever that you wanted to get to know a little more about and schedule a meeting with that person. And then take things to the next level if you find any areas where you can help each other out and things like that. And I wanted to circle back to what Lisa said, what mentor really means. I really wanted to a huge plus one to mentorship being a two-way street. That is also what I believe in. And throughout the years, I've mentored people and I also have been mentored, and both experiences are truly unique and they help me grow into a better person that I wanted to become. So I think in life, it is super important, like Nijat was saying, it's super important to find that someone or a few of them who will be able to advocate for you, right? So, and you kind of enrich your life because of these people that is able to lend a hand when you need help.
I think that's a great point. You mentioned that you've been a mentor, but also a mentee. So there is something to be said for as you continue to grow and develop your skills. One, you know how much you've learned by being able to show somebody else, but then it's also about kind of paying it forward and making sure you're helping somebody else kind of
Yes.
grow and build their skills too.
Yes, exactly. I think for me, I have that imposter syndrome side of me is always there. And through mentoring others, I saw other people having similar issues, and I was able to really emphasize, like, have the strong empathy for the people who are going through that process. And I think this is great because I know how they're feeling, and I can be there and then to tell them that everything is going to be all right. You are doing a great job. So I think it's really important that we have that system built.
I think that's interesting too, because you'll see, I think a lot of folks, when it comes to like imposter syndrome, they kind of feel like they're the only ones, or it's, just something that happens maybe early on in your career, but people can experience that throughout their career. And so no matter how seasoned, it's not something that's only affected, but like at the early careers levels, it can be at all levels.
I also think it's very easy to feel that way when you're the only woman in a room, or you're the only person of color in a room. But as I've learned in my career, everyone feels this way, right? So go into that room with that confidence.
Well, I'm actually a part of the mentor group as well. I signed up originally to get my very first like official mentor, and ended up just walking away as with my first official mentee. So it kind of flip-flopped on me, but it's been a great experience. And so if you guys are ever thinking about joining Expedia Group or coming aboard, just know that there is a whole mentor program that you can tap into. They provide resources to you to help you as the mentee get started. And then when you are ready for that next phase and being the mentor, they also help you in that area too. So, okay. All right, so we're going to dive into some questions around Expedia Group. Would love to just hear from you guys and hear a little bit about what's been exciting about working at Expedia Group. And I think for this one, I would love to start with our interns that just converted to full-time and hear what was like one of the big reasons you came back to join Expedia full-time.
Yeah, I could take this. I guess I could start. One reason that I come back to Expedia Group after doing my internship is because of the people at the Expedia Group. Everybody I met at Expedia Group through my internship or like other events like recruiting team, such as like Aisha and Hema. And they're like, everybody is really nice, really helpful. Everything you ask, they'll direct you in the right way. So I would say like the exciting, the most best part of working at Expedia Group, I would say people.
I would want to add up to what Angie said in regards of people. The second major thing for me, at least, that's the environment. That's a positive environment and positive aura of the Expedia Group. So no matter which group you are in and how many people in your team, you always feel welcome. And even if you are an intern, you are a part of the team. You're not as a sidekick. Okay, you stay here, do this small job, and we'll ping you maybe once a month. No, you are a part of a major team. You participate in each and every team meetings, and you participate, and your decision actually makes sense. And in reality, at the end of your whole internship project, you present them to leadership who actually pay attention to your products. And that makes you feel that, okay, I am doing an actual job, and whatever I'm doing has a huge impact in the production today. So that's one of the major reasons why I came back to Expedia. And another thing I really would be thanking the early careers team for being so responsive. Well, of course, we applied for other companies. So for me, before finding this job in Expedia, I applied to 120 companies. And imagine how many interviews I got. So among them, of course, I got the Expedia because the early careers team is always responsive. I send an email. At most, I get a response within 24 to 48 hours. But in some of the companies, I honestly got responses in 3 months after I got my job back. They just responded me in 3 months. Okay, we got your interview. I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to be. So this is also, I believe, matters for a student who was looking for a job. So far, like these are the two major issues that attracted me most in the Expedia Group.
Well, glad to hear that. I think that was probably a lot of heavy lifting by Hema and Alexis, who are both on the call. So great job, ladies. All right. We'll jump ahead to our next slide unless anyone else has anything to add. So now that you're in your role, is there any advice that you would give your younger self to help set you up for success in your career or role? Sandy, let's start with you on this one.
Okay. I think what I would tell myself, my younger self, is that don't be afraid to say what you're thinking. And if you have an idea, just speak it out. If you need help in growing your own career, talk to your manager and be open about it. Set up goals, and others will be there to help you reach that goal. So I think it's super important to share with other people that you have this aspiration to continue learning and growing, and people love seeing that, and people value your opinion as well and your input. So there's nothing to lose but by speaking up.
Perfect. How about you, Lisa? Any advice?
Yeah, so I've been doing this about 25 years now. So when I started in my career, going back to what I said earlier, I was the only woman on most of the teams that I was on. And I always, I was never as technically strong as, a lot of my teammates. And I felt like that was something that was wrong with me. But then what I learned a couple things from that. One is, you should really play to your strengths, right? You shouldn't try to be someone else, right? You need to learn what you're really good at, what value you bring to the team. So that's number one. And number two is that a successful team needs a lot of different personalities. Right. So if everyone were the same, right, because again, early in my career, there's that prototypical like geek engineers, super techie, like there are a lot of guys like that, right, in the field. And what I learned is, a project that has all people like that is not going to succeed, right? You need people who have different personalities, different mindsets, different life experience in order to really get the team to work like a team. This is, I'm hoping this is helpful advice for folks on the call, because it can be really difficult when you're starting in this career, because you will always feel like you don't know things. Right? It's just get used to it. But that doesn't mean that your contributions are not valuable.
One more thing to add, I apologize just for interrupting you. One of the major things for everyone to really understand that don't let stereotypes break your dreams. That comes from a person from a military background, and you always hear that this major stereotype that you go to military because you're not smart enough and you do the job, it's easier for you to do physically. But it's not how it is. A lot of people will telling me, okay, you're not smart enough to do that. It's the next level job. But again, I'm here. I am doing this job. So every single one of us will be able to do that. There is no saying that, you're a woman, you're not suited to take job. You're from a certain background, ethnical background. You cannot do that. It's not possible. Everything is possible as long as you really wish to do that, as long as you are here. And you will always have your team, your mentors to support you, your friends to support you. And here in Expedia Group, you will be able to find all of them, maybe within one team as well.
Yeah, I think adding to that, what I usually do is every meetings, like every discussions, I would really pay attention and take a note and then ask a lot of questions. If you have anything, if you don't understand anything, ask a lot of questions. That's where you get everything cleared. And then when you ask a lot of questions, sometimes you will come up with the questions that none of the other teammates come up with. And then it's also like you're kind of bringing like, a different perspective. And then it's really good for the team, and then it's really good for you to understand what you're really doing it, and what is other services that you're using, and then things like that. And then if you started asking questions, then I think your goal for your success will be more like clear. It's just my personal.
No, I think that's a great point. I think sometimes even in the interview process, or as we have new interns or new grads starting, a lot of times they tend to be afraid to ask too many questions, or they don't want to seem like they don't know everything. But I think that's a great call out. It actually is a benefit because it looks like you're interested in learning more. You have this curiosity and desire to like learn and better understand things. And you're new or early in your career. No one's expecting you to be an expert. And so asking questions is the way that you're going to learn. And so I definitely encourage you, even through this process, or if you participate in the CDP, it's a great time to utilize those resources while you have them, and ask those questions and just get as much out of the experience as possible.
Yeah, and I would say this, when I've interviewed people, asking the right questions is actually more important than having the right answer. Because asking the right questions really shows how you think about things, how you break down a problem, or how you approach a problem that you don't understand, which engineers have to do every day, right? We spend lots of time on Google.
Awesome. I think there's one last question for us before we jump in. All right. What advice would you offer somebody who is interested in participating in the Career Discovery program to make the most of the experience? So I think I'll just jump in. I kind of gave a little bit of it away in the last slide, but just I said ask lots of questions. So you'll be engaging with a lot of folks throughout the program. So definitely take advantage of that and ask questions. Would love to hear from any of you, any other advice you might have if folks are participating in the week-long event, how to really just make the most of it. I can jump in and give my advice.
Along with asking questions, again, as Lisa mentioned, very, very on point. Try to ask the questions the way you want to ask it. Don't be shy or don't be like hesitant. Okay, should I ask this question or not? No, ask whatever question you have, whatever you think that it would help you to grow, because mentors are here to help you. It's not like, don't try to be to fit to someone's shoes. No, you have to be you yourself, and you need to help us to help you to become whatever you want to be. So try to find exactly what you're trying to do and what is your career goal. And mentors are always going to be here to guide you to achieve your goal. So ask your questions as much as you can. And again, ask exactly questions to the point, and don't be shy asking a certain question multiple times. You can ask multiple times. We're going to respond it multiple times, as much as you want to.
Yeah, and since I'm probably the most versed on the Career Discovery program, I'll jump in. There's a lot of opportunity in the program. We're helping train you on like behavioral interviews, getting you exposure to how to build your personal brand. It's also okay to kind of run those pitches by your mentee, or pardon me, by your mentor. So if you want to practice your personal brand, what you came up with, it's a great opportunity to practice those skills or practice your behavioral interviewing skills with your mentor. Again, they're there to help. All right, I apologize. There's one last question. I think this was one that came in from a bunch of students as they registered. So I do want to make sure we get to this one. And this is, as you start to think about interviewing for fall, what should students be considering or preparing to make sure that they're ready to interview and land a job?
I would say if you are interviewing in the fall, to make sure, so for the technical interviews, of course, you're going to prepare. There's a lot of the resources like a Late Code, like a HackerRank, and everything that all the students, they use. That's one thing, and then you can do it in your own time. But I think the other important part is that in your interview, you have to show them that you're really interested in Expedia Group and what Expedia Group means to you, and then why did you choose to come to apply Expedia Group. And I think if you really prepare for it and then show them to be like oh, this is my reason that I chose Expedia Group. I want to be a part of the team. I think that's very important for your interview. Like the process as well.
I want to say one thing in regards on interviewing, since it is in the middle of fall, it also kind of conflicts with your exams and all these classes as well. You cannot just skip them. The biggest advice would be for you to prepare earlier. You can even start tonight, start preparing for all those whatever the your sources you have, as Angie mentioned, like HackerRank or maybe LeetCode. Practice as much as you want. Practice. Even if you think that you are comfortable, don't forget the fact that during the internship, during the interview, there's a moment that you think that you forgot everything. Everyone meets that person. Everyone hits that point like, okay, why I don't know everything. So start earlier, prioritize your time, prioritize your exams. You probably have your schedule ahead of you. So the best thing you could do is to be able to be successful manage your time, so it doesn't conflict. It doesn't actually stress out you a lot, because you don't know, should you prepare for your interview or should you fail your exam. Ideally, you should not do any of them, of course. That's why my biggest advice, that would be advice to younger myself as well, to start as early as you can.
Yeah, and then I would say don't stress out too much, because it's an interview, right? You're gonna have a lot of different interviews. I would say if you never interviewed any other companies or any other job before, then you can do practices with your families, with your friends, and then just practicing makes it a little bit better. One thing I wanted to mention is before Expedia Group, I was really bad at public speaking. I would don't wanted to talk to people, even Zoom. But I think end of the internship, our team actually almost prepared a week. The last week was just preparing. Me and Nijat, everybody's on the Zoom and preparing for the presentation, because one of the I think the audience was Peter Kern, the CEO. So we were kind of extra preparing. So I feel that actually made, I don't know, after that, I just wanted to express myself. And it feels good. You done something, you did something, you practiced interview, and then you wanted to, it's your time to show.
And the last thing I'll say on the interview piece is just, maybe you don't have maybe you don't have prior internship experience or a ton of project experience from school. I would just say try to find ways that you can show that you have transferable skills. So it may not be directly for, working as an intern at Expedia Group, but where can you show that you did a personal project that might help Expedia Group? Or where have you done an academic project that might lend itself to, an engineer at Expedia Group? So just, kind of try and prepare ahead of time, of course, and bridge that gap. It may not be direct internship experience, but there's still good experience that's in your background that we can utilize here at EG. So,
yeah, I think the types of those experiences that really help is, a time where you had to teach yourself something, because it's pretty common theme in this in this industry. You'll find you'll have to teach yourself new things over and over again, and that is absolutely a transferable skill.
Perfect. And I know we're running up on time, so I do want to make sure that I have a little bit of time to open it up for questions. I know there were a few that were submitted, which were around Expedia Group and what are our roles, our internships, and what do they look like? So I just wanted to do a quick little overview of what that looks like. For our internship program, we will start hiring for our roles in the fall. So yes, Najat said something about preparing right away. It sounds crazy. Just start preparing now for a job that won't start until next year, but internships kick off in the fall. And so the sooner you start kind of prepping for that, the better. But one of the great things is our career discovery program is literally designed to help prepare you for our interview process. So if you're able to join and be a part of that week, I strongly encourage it. Our internship programs are generally anywhere from about 8 to 10 weeks long. I do believe next year we'll be increasing that hopefully things with COVID are wrapped up by then, and we'll be back in person, and we'll have them across different regions here in the US. The program is really designed to be basically help it funnel into full-time. And so the goal through the summer is to help get you converted to full-time. So we build a lot of structure into the program to make sure you guys are prepared. So you'll do reviews, performance reviews, you'll set goals with managers, and we will have a better update around start dates and things like that at a later date. I think we're still locking those down for 2022. But the last thing I'd say is the profiles, we're also expanding those and locking those exact profiles down for 2022. But general roles are always going to be software development engineer, analytics, product management, and data science. And I do believe somewhere around the UX engineering is going to happen next year as well. In terms of our full-time roles, you'll see something on the screen called the Expedia Group Graduate Program, which is the EGGP. That is actually our new graduate rotational program. And so it's basically something we've rolled out for the first time this year, but it's the goal is really to help accelerate folks in their careers. So they'll enter in and experience 6 months with one team, and then they will rotate to another team. So that gives us people experience getting up to speed and learning a language or a stack in one team, and then also getting to do that in another team. So you have a wider breadth of experience. And I think the program components for both are really centered around having a boot camp. So you get a boot camp and an orientation. As you join the company, we provide learning series, which are some soft skills focused learning throughout the experience. We provide leadership events, so you get to hear from and learn from our leaders. We provide you a buddy, and I think for the rotational program, you're also provided an advocate to help you in your career development. Of course, there's social events, so great opportunity to start learning from the other, or connecting with the other interns or other new grads. And then, of course, there's additional learning around technology that you'll get access to. And then we also help or encourage you to participate with any of our inclusion resource groups or community groups, participate in networking events, anything to really help you build that larger sense of community and belonging besides just interacting with your team. So that's high level. I know we have like 10 minutes left, so I do want to, interview process, that's an important piece too. So again, this is high level, but as you apply, you can kind of see what the process looks like. So if you enter into the career discovery program, you guys will get early access to apply. Otherwise, you'll be able to apply at the end of August, when all of our roles will go live to the Expedia Life at Expedia website. You'll go through the resume review process. The next step would be to be invited to an online assessment. From the online technical assessment, you would move to a final round interview and then offer from there. That's kind of the full process. And that online assessment and final round will vary a little bit just depending on the role you're applying for. All right, so I am going to kick this over. Hema, I see there might be a few questions in the chat. Do you want to help me out and maybe read any of the ones that we haven't covered already?
We have 4 minutes and there's 12 questions. So I'll try and lump some of these together. A couple of the questions around mentorship is a mentorship program required to become an Expedia intern? And then what does a mentor always have to keep a strictly professional relationship with the mentee? And then for the mentorship, I assume that each mentor has their own field of expertise. How does your company approach prospective mentees that aren't sure about what field they want to focus in? Let's start there.
Okay. Okay, so I'll start there because I don't remember the first one now. But so in terms of the mentor program, no, it's not a requirement to participate. So it's definitely something you can opt into. Angie had mentioned that it's a marketplace. So essentially, when I joined the mentor program, I put a quick little ad out about myself. So where my skills are, where I think I could add value to somebody else's career, any of the inclusion resource groups I'm a part of. And so then as mentees are going through and looking for a mentor, they can kind of quickly identify someone that might be at a good seniority level and might really be able to help impact them in their career. But it's not a requirement to participate for like the internship program or for the new grad program. Your manager will place you with like a buddy and like an advisor. So those are, I would say, requirements, but they're definitely a benefit. You'd want to have somebody help guide you, right?
Okay. Yeah, that covered it. Next couple of questions. Is the CDP program a remote program? And then do we hire international students on F1 visas?
Yeah, so for the Career Discovery Program, it is completely virtual this year. So it's done all online. Again, everyone is welcome to apply. The only thing I would say is you should have some sort of interest or desire to learn, to be technical and learn how to develop, because a big chunk of it is that coding training that we'll be doing in that session. So, and then international students, yes, we do. Obviously there's, depending on the role and like the degree or field of study, there has to be some alignment there. But yes, we do hire international students for our role.
Hey, can we make sure to get to Elvis and Abidemi's question? Because I think these are real substantive questions. I think it'd be good for people to hear the answer to.
Okay, so one question here is, my biggest challenge is landing an opportunity with a company which is more welcoming to new grads. I'm an active service member with a mechanical engineering background. Switched majors from mechanical engineering to computer network and then cybersecurity. I've applied to several companies. Every single one of them says they're looking for someone with more experience. How does Expedia differ from these companies?
Yeah, I would
to go into product. Do you mind if I just
go ahead? Yeah.
in my experience, because I've helped a lot of people like get into these careers. So the thing to learn once you're in this industry is that for every network engineer, cybersecurity engineer, or product manager role, there's probably like 10 software engineer roles. And I'm a big believer that learning how to code and starting your career as a software engineer is a good way to branch out into these other areas. I'll be honest, I don't know anyone who's ever hired an entry-level network or security engineer. It's usually someone who's been a software engineer that over their career like becomes the go-to person on their team for that area. Product is a little different, but given Abidemi that you have an SDE background, that's also a good way to get into a team, learn more about product management, and then eventually moving into that role. So I'd suggest folks think about this as a career and how do you get there rather than how do I start there.
Yeah, I'll plus one that. And I think there's a great opportunity when you are in a company, then you have access to, like you said, PMs and other security engineers that you can start doing one-on-ones or informationals with. And that's how I think a lot of those role transitions happen kind of a little bit more organically after getting connected and learning more about that space. I would say, again, just thinking about the career discovery program, I think the goal is to help set you up for interviews and to get you that early access to interview. So as long as you have the technical skills, you should be invited to come into our process. So I think that's a good way to kind of get your foot in the door as well.
So this is for the panelists. So Angie and Najat, this is for you. How much experience with internships and projects did you guys have before you started with Expedia?
For me, before Expedia Group, I was working on my own personal project, which was creating a website for this game design artist. So it's kind of like a portfolio. And then I also was a research assistant for the machine learning, one of my professors, where I kind of helped them to build a chatbot. That was the experience. I would say like the most closest like technical experience I had.
On my end, I also had on the level of personal projects building. As long as what I've understood during the interview process, actually, as long as you know what you are doing, and Expedia Group pays attention to that. If you're building a project, if you understand how the project, how you actually build the project, how the actual your technical skills help you to build this project or to build this product, there is no specific guidelines that you have to have an internship before having an Expedia Group, internship in Expedia Group or some other project. So my experience was just having a personal project that I worked on, again, building an application, by building an iOS application, also building a web application on my own.
Yeah, I think because if you start, because you don't really know what kind of project you're going to work on. So, and then you don't really know what kind of like language you will be working on. But luckily, like my project was a front end and I had a little bit of experience in JavaScript, but like not a tons of experience. But my manager wanted me to convert all those JavaScript to a TypeScript. So, but I never worked in a TypeScript before. And then that was like really good learning experience. And as long as I know the structure of the language, how it works, and then like a debugging steps, things like that, I think it's good because it's not really a best way that you could prepare for it. Because I think when you apply for the internship, they will send you the form that if you wanted to place in like a front end versus back end versus full stack. So I think that would be the best, the closest you could go based on your knowledge.
Thank you for those responses. I would definitely just plus one. You do not necessarily have to have internship experience. I think these are both great examples of where they took on projects either at school or outside of their day-to-day and started learning how to code and develop on their own. So I think, yeah, don't be afraid to go after the role and yeah, showcase and showcase where you've had skills, even if it's not directly in a position or a paid role, it still can be valid experience. So I know we are at time, so I just want to say a big thank you to our panelists today. Thank you for coming and sharing about your personal experience with mentorship, but also sharing with them a little bit about the internship and your career journeys. We greatly appreciate your time and insight today. And thank you everybody for joining. We will make sure to send out some more information around the Career Discovery Program, as well as our internships and new grad opportunities tomorrow before the weekend. We will send that out to y'all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Have a great night.